Concealed snipers lie in the grass for 2 days. Not only did I not see a single person, don't even know what the task is, until an American convoy arrived, only to find that not far in front of them, terrorists with heavy weapons have emerged. The observer who received the order quickly exploded the data. Killed 2 terrorists in an instant. When they thought they could retreat. A large number of terrorists are fallen. Mark didn't hesitate. Instantly killed the lead vehicle. The terrorist convoy suddenly went haywire, and Mark didn't relent. Although the other party. You can only cover the opposite mountain with fire. This makes them vulnerable to being hit at any time. Watcher Donnie quickly calls the source of fire. But the unexpected thing is, instead they shut down the communication system and conducted a full evacuation. Instantly realized that they have become victims. What they didn't expect was, the enemy actually dispatched helicopters. Just 2 bursts of fire at them? Downey was hit by the other party instead. Angry Mark picks up ballet from the ground. Regardless of life and death, trying to lure him into lowering his altitude. Caught by him, a shot hit the propeller of the plane. He was able to escape, and this experience also disheartened him. I thought I could live in seclusion in the mountains. A colonel claiming to be a US soldier found him. The reason is that I want him to develop a sniper plan to protect the president's safety. Disappointed with the government, he refused without thinking, but the colonel anticipated. Reissued him one soldier's highest medal of honor, and continued to brainwash him with patriotism. But the colonel didn't care at all, because he was sure Mark would agree, as he expected. Now Mark was lost in thought, although his teammates died tragically in front of him, but he still loves this country. Aimed at a target 1 kilometer away. To have a chance to assassinate the president. Finally, he took the task. But I didn't even realize it was a huge end. Then he made a non-stop visit. President's speech in Washington. And conducted on-site measurements of each venue. Ultimately, it was concluded that the killer would strike in Philadelphia. As long as the president stays still for 5 seconds. Colonel Jahu is an expert, and let him stay until the end of the presidential speech. And his choice. As if everything went according to the script. Everything went well in Washington and Baltimore. Then they came to the last stop of the speech. Junkyard? The murderer may have attacked at the church. The colonel said it had been cordoned off. At the same time, this obviously. Kieran was brought by the colonel. The president is about to give a speech. While observing the venue, while repeating. But what he didn't expect was, when Max is set up, take him now. Only then did Mark realize that it was a conspiracy, and the police rubbish marksmanship. That's what saved him. The colonel and others quickly disguised the scene, put the blame for assassinating the president on Mark's head, and dispatched a large number of police to pursue him. At this time I met the little black of the FBI. Call him for help, immediately. Ken faced multiple roundups. The injured Mark couldn't last long at all. He pulled into a self-service car wash. Opened the seat. Pulled the first aid kit out of the trunk. RIP opened a pack of hemostatic powder. He didn't stay much longer. He started to flee again. Relying on superb driving skills, escaped several pursuits along the way. Just delayed. Merck found that the police had blocked all the intersections. He could only force his way backwards. In the end, he risked being beaten into a sieve. Soon the FBI blocked the river. Manhunt him down. But the unexpected thing is, Mark had already fled the scene by cargo ship. Finally landed at an abandoned pier. Driving away in unwanted Santana. Escaped the siege of Prite. Finally stopped in front of a supermarket. He urgently needs treatment at this moment, but just arrived at the door. Because he's on the news. He had to break the envy of the supermarket first. Then I bought some healing supplies. Came to a remote parking lot. Ripped off the car's fuel line. Then went to the toilet. Replenish yourself with YouTube and needles. He disguised himself, then drive on the run. He's outside Donnie's girlfriend's door. Although he hesitated once, but still opened the door, Mark tried to explain himself to him as President Mesa. The person who died was not the president. He's not just Downey's comrade in arms, since my boyfriend left. With the help of Sarah? To wash away their shame. But he found a lot. But I didn't know that this would bring me death. Disaster under Sarah's careful care. Mark soon recovered to health. When he saw Little Black on TV, a bold plan emerged. He asked Sarah to dress up in disguise. And Shanghai was exactly as he thought. This not only attracted the Colonel's attention after a test, but didn't ask for any useful information. Ready to use special equipment, pretending to be a suicide, but got shot in the head, bald and robust. And it was Mark who shot. He told, if Blackie doesn't bring down the Colonel's gang, neither of them will survive, after life and death. I guess that Mark did it, but they couldn't find him for a while. Just then, Mark sends a letter to a woman every year. Colonel Pia decided to catch the woman immediately. And Mark and the two quietly came to the mountains and forests. Got some important information from him, someone who can snipe from a kilometer away, but a one-handed technique. But the man was seriously injured earlier. Mark suddenly thought of someone. After setting the target, Zhao found the consultant's information. Ready to start with him. The Colonel at this time. To bring up Mark. The Colonel actually used the consultant as bait. At the same time, they made a lot of fritters. And then they got into action. Mark planted bombs around the villa. Mark infiltrated the villa. For a long time. He told him the Colonel's secret. It turns out that the person the Colonel was going to kill was the Archbishop. For an oil pipeline, killed a village in Africa and hit higher. And Mark's last mission, just to cover their retreat so far. It was only then that Mark, after saying this, at this time the villa, Mark didn't take them too hard at all. Destiny Black detonates the black iron bomb, then run out of the mess. The people outside are no match at all. Under the cover of Little Black, Mark managed to break through the encirclement, but the Colonel actually made a black sound, and they couldn't fight back. You can only fight and retreat. Immediately came the idea. After successfully attracting the attention of the helicopter, as the helicopter crashed, the two also escaped smoothly, and this is lost again. The senator behind the Colonel was upset. At the same time, the Colonel's men also captured Sarah, trying to force him to show up. Mark actually released the consultant's recording. The Colonel and the people behind him. Double convenient, agreement to exchange the recording for the salad. Mark, who arrived as promised, was shot down. The senator just wanted to celebrate. Under the surprised eyes of everyone. After solving all the ambushed snipers. But the senator was panicking. I still want to recruit Mark into the Human. Look at his arrogant attitude. Not only does the recording fail to bring them down. Mark hands in the gas on his phone. Burned down. I'm just a pack of water. Mark was also taken by the FBI, who came later. The Colonel also had a look of victory. He thought he was done for Mark. A week later, under special law. And Mark loaded a bullet. Under the different eyes of everyone, he pulled the trigger on the Colonel. But there is no blood like an arrow as imagined, so Mark had a habit to prevent guns from being stolen by others. And every time it's used up, he readjusts it. Therefore, this unactivated sniper rifle. Colonel, it's not interesting to wait. And he got up to leave. Just then, Little Black is not happy. Crime committed, but not at home. American law can't handle it that late. I will... You lose. Looking at Mark's unconvinced look, the judge came up to him. Justice does not always program. It's not the Wild West. We can clean up the streets of the gun. Even though sometimes it's exactly what's needed. In the evening, the colonel and the senator opened the party. This is about evidence, oh God. Adaha? The truth is what I... Suddenly a corpse fell from the sky. Everyone immediately realized that something was wrong. Under the fearful gaze of the senator, Mark gently pushed open the door. After seeing the other party walking, the senator thinks he can still save it. But his arrogant attitude, Mark just shot him away. After checking that, no one is alive, he disguised the scene. Before he left, he broke the gas valve. With a violent explosion, everything turned to ashes. And live a happy life.